Good evening, you fantastic and glorious human beings of this floating rock that we call Earth. Welcome to Off the Wire. I am your host, Noel Olin, and I have a very special guest tonight, Shaun Collins, Buds in Reality, a good friend of mine who we will be habitually appearing on each other's episodes for a long time. We got a lot to get into, actually, some of which you're not going to know anything about, from extreme online censorship election shenanigans that went down today, and absolute not incompetence, but 100% malfeasance, nefarious activity on the government. It's going to be a wild show. We're going to have an exceptional time. So please share, and follow Shaun Collins, aka Buds in Reality, because we're both about to be popping these things off in a very fast nature. So also, if you have anything you want to sponsor, let Shaun know. I'm gonna put it up here real quick, and then we're gonna talk about it here in just a minute, because holy smokes, we have some real stuff to talk about. So go follow Shaun at Buds in Reality. For those of you listening later, it's BUDS in Reality. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Shaun, what's up, brother?
My man, thanks for having me on again. And we will be doing this so many more times across the board, honestly, man. I'm going to be on your show. You're going to be on my show. And we're going to bring the fire no matter what. It's going to be honest, unmerciful truth.
That's
No matter what it is, like we have to bring it because nobody else is going to do it. You're not going to get it on MSN. You're not going to get it on CNN. You're not going to get it on Fox. You're going to get it from independent media like us.
1,000%. So, real quick before we get started, let me give a shout out to a good buddy of mine who some of you all know and love, and he has, in my opinion, the best and most spicy political t-shirts on that are available. I'm wearing one right now. It says government 1 out of 5 stars. Whotouchedit.com, whotouchedit.com, who touched the thermostat on social media platforms, whotouchedit.com. Go check out RJ. He has amazing political paraphernalia. And the reason we want to promote these people so much is because we want to implement a parallel economy. Okay. Just like we talked about a few days ago when with thousands of people watching, with Jeff Charles. Go follow Jeff Charles. Go follow Mike Decentralized. What we're doing was we're setting up something that is going to be a more of a long-lasting effect and impact, because money talks. Money just doesn't sell. Money doesn't talk. It delivers and it dominates. So, whotouchedit.com, who touched the thermostat, go follow him immediately. All right, well, let's jump right into it. First and foremost, literally 2 hours ago, when I was supposed to go to live, I get an email from YouTube. Said they canceled my entire channel, removed my entire channel because I was promoting spam somehow, which is crazy. And so, look, in all honesty, I lost it. I saw red. I was bleeding from my eyeballs. I'm fuming mad. I'm cussing, which is something I rarely ever do. I'm shooting it. Obviously, I shot it to my wife first. And I'm like, oh my God, what? Are you serious? I've never, to my knowledge, even gotten a strike on YouTube. I've tried to be very careful. And then within an hour of receiving the email that my channel was completely abolished, completely removed, I'm still driving from work. I hadn't even had the chance to appeal it. I get a YouTube email saying that they're sorry. They reevaluated my channel and realized I had done nothing wrong. So this is clear election interference on its face to begin with. And then they realized that they couldn't get away with it. I didn't even have to appeal it. And that brings us to the other election interference involving my guest in his personal brand. Shaun, what happened, bro?
Oh man. So there's one thing that happened that I wasn't very vocal about just because like when things happen, you just don't want to glorify it and whatever. But I was signed to a record label with my show uh roughly 3 months ago. Uh and and the funny story is that I really gave them a very good map of what my show was about and what I was doing and why like I was getting censored on YouTube and stuff like that. And they were like, "Hey man, it's great. Like, we love that kind of stuff. Most of our people are of conservative values and blah blah blah." They also, they also manage like musicians and people like that, radio talent and stuff like that. Anywho, this week I get an email, and it happened to be on the day my show dropped for the week. I dropped a show on Tuesday with Zach from the Legacy Right, actually, who's been on your show, a couple times
A
now.
couple times. Shout out Zach in the comments right now. Shaq at Legacy, right? I
Yeah,
am Legacy of Jenny Kaiser. Shout out Zach. Good job. Thank you.
but so anyways, there was a couple times where they kind of reached out to me and said, "Hey, you might want to walk back some of your Israel rhetoric." And I was like, "Hey, I'm not anti-Jews. I'm anti, you know, the Israeli government
Hey,
and our
anti-government in general.
yeah, I'm anti-government. I'm not I'm very anti their government involved with my government. That's what I'm anti, you know. And so, by the way, there was something in our contract that I made them write in that they are not to tell me what to do with my content. That's my show. It's my content. Nobody tells me what to do, period. Okay, that's great. So then, a couple weeks goes by and they said the same thing. They're like, "Hey, we really need you to not talk about that so much," which made me become flagrant because you're not going to tell me what to do on my show. You're just not going to do it. It's
Typical
not
libertarian
happening.
roots.
We're not doing it. And so the show with Zach comes out, and I kind of mentioned something along the lines of 100,000 Americans plus need to get on DC's doorstep and start making citizens arrest. I didn't say anything about anything except that. All of a sudden, I'm inciting violence. They cut me loose. I was cut loose by the record label. That was it. That happened this week. Yay.
Yeah, yeah. It's just for one reason or the other, the fact still remains that what we have and what we're dealing with is extreme censorship. And it doesn't matter who you're talking about, right? What we're actually talking about is our fundamental right as human beings, especially Americans, since we're supposed to have the ability to physically defend that right, is number one, election interference. They don't want any dissenting opinions out, whether it be by one government or another. They can't stand it. And number two, they want complete control over the narrative. And we're about to prove this in a much more dangerous way than you and I's social media presence. Let's get started with. I know that everyone has heard a lot about North Carolina, but let me present to you some information that you might not know in lieu of the information that we just gave you, and we're a month out from the election. Okay. Number one, shout out to Elon, bro. Starlink, uh, from the what I heard from testimonies of the locals, what Elon has done, and with Trump's help, we give credit where it's due because we place truth over lies. We place the truth first. It doesn't matter who gets credit for it. If Biden would have done it, we give Biden the credit. If Mark Zuckerberg would have done it, he got the credit. But in this instant, and for multiple instances in a row here for a while, it does happen to be Elon and Trump. But this is from like yesterday. Well, I posted it for today, but it's from yesterday. Starlink from Elon is killing it for North Carolina, and the government is blocking fundraising. And why is the ATF there? Okay, let me elaborate before you respond. Number one, people on the ground are saying Elon Musk, Starlink is giving them reinstituted their ability to have communication with the outside world, which we know is very, very difficult in a horrible emergency like this one. The government is blocking. I've heard this from multiple sources of people that follow me and live right there in the area, that they're blocking their ability, like in East or West Tennessee, to travel to East Tennessee or West North Carolina and help them out. And then I see a video of a woman that is not prominent. She had no following. She's just making a video about what she saw. She said she had saw no federal government officials on the ground. And then she posts this video of, this is the first time that we've seen any federal officials. And guess who it was? The ATF. What? Shaun, I give you the floor.
Well, number one, there's a huge conspiracy theory out there right now. Put on your tinfoil hat, guys. But apparently, Asheville, North Carolina, which is in the mountains, by the way. Asheville, North Carolina is in the mountains. Very mountains. If you don't know anything about anything, and I hope you guys are smart enough because you're watching this show. Because
yeah, they obviously, if they're watching this show, they're smart.
If you're watching this show, you're probably pretty smart people. But like, the mountains are pretty high elevation. They're high. They're probably higher than I am right now. You know, but they don't call me buds. They don't call me buds for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
I am not high, for the record, y'all.
but like seriously, the mountains have flooded. I-40 was flooded. Asheville, that's the main highway in Asheville, was I-40. But apparently, according to quote unquote conspiracy theorists, which conspiracy theorists are batting at like 1,000 right now, by the way. But anyways, I digress. There's a copious amount of lithium in Appalachia.
Yes.
According to the quote unquote conspiracy theorists. So we know that the government can control the weather. I'm not saying they can control the climate change and all that stuff like that. Like
we're gonna get into that.
Like, you know what I mean? But there's multiple sources that have proved that the government has a play in some weather, you know, just like kind of like the direct energy weapons that hit Maui. Oh, wow. Did I say that out loud? Because feel free to look up direct energy weapons. They're lasers that come from the sky that set things on fire.
No, they're not. They're Jewish space lasers that Spike Cohen has control over. What are you talking about?
Pew, 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 pew.
Spike. I will absolutely just debunk that conspiracy. No, Spike Cohen has the remote control over the Jewish space lasers. Yeah. No. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I had to make that joke.
That's actually hilarious. I love Spike so much, and I know you do that.
Oh, he's so great.
Yeah, you know, he's great awesome. Friend. You know, and he's been a great voice for the Liberty movement. He's been very consistent in the, you know, with his voice in the Liberty movement, which is very rare at this point. When it comes to the Liberty movement, consistency is not a thing. It really isn't. Like, let's be honest here. So Spike has been amazing.
Go ahead.
Spike has been amazing on the consistency front when it comes to the Liberty movement. But like,
yeah. But before you get started, I want to plug him. I want to plug Spike and what he's doing on the ground everywhere. And I'm sure they're going to be helping out in North Carolina, Georgia, East Tennessee, everywhere else as well. You are the power.org. You can follow that on X. You are the power. That is a real grassroots organization started by Spike Cohen himself. So go follow them and go support them. youarethepower.com or .org. I can't remember. You'll find it. You are the power. All right. My bad.
No, it's a great plug. And more people need to be listening to Spike. Like, we only have so many great voices and consistent voices in the Liberty movement. So Spike Cohen, love you, man. Honestly, like you're doing great work. Your grassroots activism with You're the Power is nothing short of amazing. You went from being a national, you know, I don't want to call you a face because it's the Libertarian Party. Nobody in the
Okay.
Libertarian Party is the face of anything, but like you were the face of the Liberty movement during a presidential, uh, candidate that wasn't the best. You were the one who took the stars. You were the one who made it happen, not Joe Jorgensen. I'm going to put that out there.
That's right.
Sorry,
Unapologetically.
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 Spike,
It was Spike.
Spike, 100%. Mama Joe, you tried.
Not very hard either.
No, and I still have, dude. I'm looking
doors.
at her signs in my basement as we speak. I do this in my basement. I'm looking at her sign. She is with us, Jorgensen 2020 or Joe20.com. I'm looking at the sign now. I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? I supported the campaign. Little did I know. But anyways, when it comes to messaging, we have to be better messengers. When it comes to, did I just go off in left field, by the way? Because I feel like I did.
Yeah, you did. Go for it, though. Go for it. I like it.
Well, blame it on my ADD. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. But like, our message needs to be very clear. We don't need no willy-nilly garbage. We don't need, somebody to say, hey, we're going to win this election. We need somebody to say, hey, liberty is the way or bust.
So what you're saying is we need less Chase Olivers and more Shaun Collins. Got it. Noted.
Something like that, something along those lines, but you guys, like, we're in a situation here. It's an election year. There's going to be a ton of censorship. A lot of our social medias are going to be nuked. A lot of our podcasts are going to be nuked. A lot of, on certain channels or whatever it may be, but we need to stay strong and vigilant. And that's my message for that period. We can move on if you'd like. I don't want to get too much.
Amen. Yeah. We don't want to bury ourselves in the weeds of messaging, because ultimately the goal of messaging is to lead to changing people's hearts and minds so that they would potentially vote differently, specifically on the local level. The federal level is a problem, y'all. Okay, I don't know how much you know that. Everyone listening to this show does, but if you like and share this with all your friends, then they can hear this message. Just that little click, share it, please. You guys are the key to the success of not just the show, but to the movement. The reason that Spike is who he is because of people hearing what he says, resonating with it, and sharing it. So if we want to be good messengers, then you have to send out the messengers that have maybe a slightly bigger platform than you and amplify these things. And again, or not again, I guess I'm making this point for the first time, but to reiterate, as I've done multiple times through several shows, a high tide raises all ships. So if you're in that same coastal waters as Spike or as me or as Justin Amash or as Dave Smith or Angela McCardle or Shaun Collins, share that content because it will raise your tide as well because you're in the same harbor. So, no, I think it was great what you brought up, but I do want to move on because, look, you and I are going to talk. You know what I mean? You and I are going to talk.
It's kind of what we do.
So, there's some people where I'm like, oh, we're only at 20 minutes. Oh, my gosh, I'm going to have to carry this entire show to get to an hour. With you and I have to make sure we stay on point because we're both going to rabbit trail terribly. So, getting back to what I would say is not government inefficiency or malfeasance. I would say absolutely nefarious. And we need to find out why. Here's a headline from the New York Post from yesterday. Helicopter pilot threatened with arrest after flying rescue missions in flood-ravaged North Carolina. Published yesterday at 1:23 p.m. Let me read you all of this. Now, lately I've been abandoning reading a bunch, but wow. And I'm leaving out a bunch. Listen to this. A South Carolina pilot who flew stranded Hurricane Helene victims in flood ravaged North Carolina to safety claims he was told he would be arrested if he continued the rescue missions. Jordan Sidehome, Seedham, I don't know, figure it out. You'll find it. Was flying victims out of the devastation over the weekend when local leaders told him there was a flight restriction on the area and that they would have to arrest him if he continued making flights. Let's get to his testimony that I have cut into like 2/3 of what he had to say, and you got to hear everything this man has to say. There were other quote, there were other victims. As we were flying out of the area, leaving the area, we spotted within 300, 400 yards of their location. People were waving for help as my son and I were leaving. Quote, I thought, I have a helicopter. Maybe I can help, he said to the outlet. Sidham, who once led the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office narcotics unit. I repeat, the guy they threatened to arrest for rescuing people with his personal helicopter once led the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office narcotics unit. And his teenage son, Landon, flew out bottled water and food to the family on Saturday and decided they would set up to find other people in need for help. Quote, if I had to do it over again, I would have stopped and I would have rescued as many people until they decided they were going to arrest me.
Can I interject for a minute?
That's why I stopped.
This is the reason why I'm an extremely radical anarchist, okay? This is one of the very reasons why I believe anarchy is the only way to true liberty, is because of things like this. This gentleman, on his own voluntarily accord, with his own money and his own gas and helicopter, wanted to go help people. And instead, the state wanted to arrest him for trying to help people voluntarily because the state wants you to bow down to them. Oh God, I got to watch my words on this show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Because like I'm very much more colorful about certain things.
Right. But we have families that watch this.
The state is a blood-sucking parasite who only wants to take you for your health, wealth, and property. They do not want to help you. But they want to portray that they're going to help you. You know, through, we'll do this for you. We'll have a program for you.
I'd say it's worse. I'd say it's worse than that. What I would say at this point, and right here should be, I can give you example after example. While I lived through Katrina 5 miles from the beach, okay, it's worse than that. Yes, you're right. The state absolutely wants to pretend like they want to help you. But it's not just that. They are intentionally blocking efforts of voluntarism, of agorism from people that are wildly more efficient and available. They don't need they're giving their resources. So this is not incompetence, okay, right? Like the old sound that we talk about. Try not to, or it says never, but we're in 2024 now, y'all. This is a different piece. So try not to contribute to incompetence or contribute to malfeasance what you should contribute to incompetence. We're beyond that point. It's a combination. Not only are they too incompetent to do their jobs, they freaking know it. And since other people are helping because they understand that they're better at that job than they are and are willing to spend their own collected resources amongst the community, aka true anarchism, volunteerism, agorism, they will literally let people delete before they will let regular human beings get involved and do a better job than they are doing. And I think it's even worse than that.
Because they need you to be compliant and reliant to fulfill their agenda.
Correct.
That is exactly why. They don't want you helping your neighbors. They don't want you even talking to your neighbors. This is divide and conquer at its finest. We're
Yes.
seeing we've been seeing it for the past, oh God. It's not just the past 4 years. This has been happening for decades, but it's been much more
A long
relevant in
time.
the past 4 years.
Yeah, COVID really put a megaphone on it.
What was that?
COVID really put a megaphone on it,
It really did. And that's, the
or a
funny
microscope.
it, that's what radicalized the both of us. We share a common
Yep.
in that. I was just a very quiet libertarian who voted for Ron Paul, a couple times, or who voted for. Well, no, by the time I was voting for Joe Jorgensen, I was losing friends and family over that. You can rest assured, but like, they can't have real people doing real work to provide for their communities. They can't have that. That's the last thing they can have, because they'll lose all control. And this is why people like you and me and anybody else watching this show needs to get their ass off their couch or off their chair or whatever they're doing. Stop bitching about, whatever it is on social media, and go make a difference. Go put your boots on the ground, dig your feet in, dig your boots in, and start talking to people. Start going to your city council meetings. Start running for office locally, for the love of God.
Bingo.
Get in your county commissioner, get in your school board, get your local sheriff, whatever it may be. Get them in there. Your
state
mayor,
attorney general,
all of it. Your state reps. Get those people in your state and local governments are far more important than the nonsense you're seeing on TV with this Trump and Harris bullshit, because that's what it is bullshit. This Trump and Harris stuff is nonsense. This Chase Oliver stuff is nonsense. This Jill Stein stuff is nonsense. Federal elections are a thing of the past. You're not voting your way out of this, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the black pill, but here's your big red white pill. You can go to your local chairs and start running and start nullifying yourselves from the state. That's what you can do to protect yourselves, your family, and your community. That's exactly what you need to be doing. Do you think voting for Chase Oliver is going to get you out of this? Hell no. Do you think Trump is going to get you out of this? Hell no. Do you think Harris is going to get you out of this? Absolutely not.
No, they're obviously
You're
making
going
it
to
worse.
get yourself out of this, but you have to do it with your community. Period.
Yes. And I'll add this too. Not just a black pill, but a white pill. Like you said, the federal government's lost. You can change this locally. There's a slight white pill, and now I'm gonna give you a big black pill, and then give you a better white pill. There is, under no circumstances, is national divorce not the only route. It has to happen. It is happening organically. We are going to nationally divorce, y'all. It's happening in real time. So, federalism can be a major roadblock into total tyranny on your local area. There's only one way to fix that. Vote locally. Get engaged locally. Be more important than voting. Be engaged with the local community in the message boards of your governor, your state attorney general, your sheriffs, all your local city departments. Be involved. Go to the meetings, because we're getting to a point where we're going to divide as a country, but we can come together as a community, and then we can salvage a lot of the things that you guys like and that the people like. And again, don't forget to share the show so people can understand where we're going with this. This is not a joke. A lot of people talk for a long time about voting locally and nobody listened. Well, now, guess what? We're in real deep water. So if you don't fix what's going on in your local area, then you have absolutely no chance on anything on a national level.
Look, y'all, if Orange County in Southern California can nullify, we can do this everywhere. Literally, look at who's their governor, Gavin Newsom, who is one of the most far left radical neoliberals we've ever seen in the United States. And my governor is just behind him in Michigan.
I think she's
But like
worse.
on certain things, yes, most definitely.
If she was in California, she would be exponentially worse. The only reason she's compartmentalizing herself to the nth degree is because she's in Michigan and she can't lose the workers.
You know, but they're losing them by the day. Like a lot of people get Michigan, especially Detroit, misconstrued. Okay, let me put this out there for you guys. A lot of people talk shit about Detroit. I'm in Detroit. I'm here. I live it every day. My route to work back and forth almost every day is 8 Mile, the infamous 8 Mile that Eminem talks about. This is what I'm going to tell you about Detroit. Detroit ain't just bowing down to Kamala Harris. They've actually seen enough. Is she going to win Detroit? Most likely, yes. But it's going to be extremely close. Because the people of Detroit are starting to wake up that government is not their friend. The Democratic Party has been making them promises for decades. That's never fulfilled what they've been talking about. Like, they make all these promises to the cities and they never deliver. It's the same shit, different day. And people are waking up finally. Finally.
Absolutely. And that's a massive ordeal, right? Because the sooner people recognize what time we're in, the better we're going to be able to resolve certain things. Like, you know, the fundamental belief that I have is that we're not voting our way out of this, you know, but you can vote your way into a more secure position as of right now to actually counter what's coming down the pike. And please, all of you, comment. Let us know what it is that you think, because we're going to get things wrong, but we want to get them all right. And if there's a certain thing happening in your local area, freaking comment so that we can help. We've got an audience that can have people in. Look, the show that I retired and then now I pick back up on, that a lot of people still listen to from the old show, or most, was downloaded in 40 different countries. So clearly it was downloaded in 50 states, every state in the union. If you have something that you want addressed, comment. There's going to be somebody in your area, and we can start pushing together forward as local communities and trying to tackle this tyranny. We are out of time.
We are definitely out of time. And if you want to take a chapter out of people's books who are doing some very great grassroots activism, look at my homeboy, one of my very good friends.
Oh, crap.
I saw that, Zach Attack, and you are
Zach,
definitely right.
keep it PG, bro.
Zach Attack was definitely right, though. They are not going to come play games in Detroit. They're not.
I'm gonna auto put up Zach's reply. So yeah, please keep it PG. We have kids that watch this show, including my own. Go ahead. No, Shaun, I was talking to Zach.
Oh no, I'm reading his comment right now. I really wish I can nullify the Republican commies in my county. He's not wrong. The Republican Party is just as communist as the Democratic Party. They just have their own way of pushing it. They have their own regulations. They have their own, like, do I believe that the Democratic Party is worse than the Republican Party? Yes, I do. I'm not going to be a liar.
By every metric, that's true.
And be like, you know, they're all the same. But as I believe our boy Michael Malice would say, Republicans are just Democrats doing the speed limit. I believe that was a Michael.
Yep. No, you nailed it. Yep, Michael Malice.
And so, you know, they're not too far behind. At this point, I feel like the Republicans are more socialist than they are communist, but they're working their way to that. Okay. But that, you know, that doesn't take away from the fact that you can go to your local chair and just be like, enough already, as Scott Horton would say, the greatest anti-war activist ever, Scott Horton. Enough already. He wrote a book about, anti-war stuff. This isn't necessarily a war in the Middle East here with our government. Well, actually it is. But anyways, you know, this is a war amongst ourselves that we just need to grab the balls of the bull, and instead of grabbing the bull by the horns, no, you grab the balls of that bull and say, yo, no, we are in control. We have the power, and we are going to take it with you, MFers. That's what we need to be doing right now, immediately. And you can do that from a local standpoint.
Absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, you can. You can't. We cannot save the federal government in its current position. And being that it is in said position, I don't think that it can be rescued. If I'm being honest,
No.
look, you can vote for whomever you want. I support your right to do that, or your privilege, really, because voting should not be a right, but your privilege to do that in almost every circumstance. I would, however, counter that with, if these are the people you're depending on, no matter how the scenario resolves itself, be it national divorce, um, peace for a little bit, I whatever that looks like. I'll be honest with you. Today, I went and got, because of what's going on in North Carolina, and because of what's going on with the union strike on all the ports, and what's going on with the Middle East, and our inevitable engagement in it. I spent $300 on more supplies, more apocalyptic supplies, because look, it doesn't have to be some catastrophic government situation. Maybe it's a dam that breaks in North Carolina and you don't have any power, and you don't have any way to give it. You can't travel, you can't get food, you can't get water. Please, please go invest in things that are immutable, absolute, immutable, fundamental necessities to you and your family's survival. Um, I can tweet out the supplies, I guess, but it's all the things you think a way to keep water, a way to have fire, a way to cook food, be it propane or fire or both. I did both. I have a 3 month. Well, she's almost 4 month old. I bought a bunch of diapers. I bought a bunch of wipes. And guess what, y'all? Here we go again. There was, in this tiny Walmart in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, had no toilet paper. None. Every stitch, every roll was gone. Gone. And that's the same story that I'm getting from my dad in South Louisiana. I mean, this is just crazy. But we have answers. We have ways to combat this. We have ways to succeed, as long as we build a community of like minded individuals. And fortunately for us, one way, one avenue that we still have that is this right here, by being able to communicate online. When you comment, when you share, when we talk about when we lift up other people that share the same ideas. And I want to do that now. Shaun, you are basically rebranding your show again after what happened, what after what conspired with the agency. So what is it that you need? Give us like 15, 20 seconds. What can we do to help with your ability to communicate and spread this absolute worthy knowledge to every person of your audience?
You know what? I don't want to make this about me, honestly, because it was
I
never
know.
about me to begin with. When I started Buds in Reality, which was Buds in the Basement in the very beginning, which you were a guest on. You were my very first libertarian influencer that came on Buds in the Basement. I love you forever for that, honestly.
It's awesome. I love you forever. Great.
You and Shane Hazel were my first libertarian influencers. And then I had to come out of the basement. I had to grow up. And I was like, well, we're going to be Buds in reality. But it's not really about me. Really what it is about is being prepared and being, educated on what's to come, what's happening in the world, and what's against the grain of what they're telling you on mainstream media. And my big thing right now is men. I'm speaking to men in general because we need more men in this country, not men who want vaginas. We need men who still have their twig and berries. You know what I'm saying? Like I need
alpha males.
I need the men to retrieve their balls and tuck them back into their sacks and listen to me right now. Men, you need to find a place for your wives or your girlfriends and your children to be safe, because the days are coming when good men are going to have to do very bad things. Do you think that this is okay with all the shortages that are to come, with the strike that are on the borders and stuff like that? Do you think that things are going to be okay with World War III on the horizon? Because they're not. We are probably going to have to dig our boots in the ground and be men in the United States, even though the left agenda is trying to disarm us and say, hey, we don't need weapons of war. Their foreign policy is the greatest reason why we need weapons of war. What they are doing is the exact reason why we need to protect ourselves and our families. I don't want to have to think about a bug out for my wife and I. I don't want to have to think about for a bug out for my mom and my dad and my family and people who are older. My grandma, who's still alive, she's 90 years old. I don't want to think about that, but we have to. They have put us into a position where we have to think about these things. We have to be men. It's time to stand up. It's time to say no. It's time to be vigilant. It's time to be powerful. It's time to use your voice. It's time to raise your fist. It's time to stomp your feet. Do you want to know what got me kicked off my record label? Is because I said something like this. We need 100,000 plus men to show up on DC's doorstep and start making citizens arrest, because nobody else is going to do it. The FBI is not going to do it. The CIA is not going to do it. None of the three-letter acronyms are going to do it. It's up to us. Or we just lay down and take it, which who wants to do that? I'm not saying go out and be violent. That's the last thing I want. Honestly, I don't want anybody to be violent ever. But what I want you to do is stand up for yourself, stand up for your rights, stand up for your family, stand up for your community. We have to make citizens arrests. And for treason at the very least. Look at COVID.
I disagree. I disagree. And I'll tell you why. It's not because of potential censorship. Because of what I said earlier, in that I don't think there's no impact that you can actually make in DC. Even if for some reason, people peacefully showed up and tried to negotiate with them and, detaining them in a peaceful manner. That's never going to work. We've seen this in school boards all over the place where they just simply stand up to talk and get arrested. One just happened yesterday. I didn't even think I was going to bring this up. And oh my gosh, do I wish I had the video right now to show it. But the pastor that got arrested, he got arrested for speaking at a school board over essentially what was and is child pornography in a school that the school board was promoting.
But he wasn't there with 100K plus people. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, put our arms together, not guns, put our arms together, link up our arms, these arms, and say, hey, you guys are coming with us. We've had enough.
I don't think that's going to work. I think that will I'm just being honest. I love the idea. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be great, but I think it would cause more complications, and it would resolve itself in less people being able to speak their mind freely and actually counter this because they would be incarcerated.
And
I
the
mean, look
same
what they did to
people said
January
the
6
exact
people.
same things in 1776. The exact
I
people
think,
said the exact same thing
but that
then.
wasn't a country yet. That was very local. Remember, it's 13 colonies, and all of them did not agree.
Now we have 50 colonies, though.
And nobody agrees. So you need to, I would focus
True.
on your community first. Forget DC. Go vote. I'm not discouraging you to vote. Go vote. But remember that the supplies in your house, like I talked about, that's going to go way further than anything you could do to any politician. Because look, the politician, you can bully a politician, but at the same time, they're still going to have certain power. And that police, your local cops, you thin blue line freaking Republicans, they are going to be the ones to enforce it. And they're going to look you right in the eye and say, I'm just doing my job. Protect yourself. No politician is going to save you. Should these people be arrested? Absolutely. The vast majority of, if not all, except for maybe Thomas Massey,
Thomas Massey.
Rand Paul, and Justin Amash, should they be arrested in DC? Almost certainly. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is
Treason, war
quite
crimes, and crimes
literally,
against humanity, period. Like, those are three
yeah,
straight off the rip you could get them for.
yeah. But us as civilians, even at 100K, going to DC is going to result in nothing less than violence. So I'm just not going to be on board with that. I think what we need is for Shaun Collins to look at his local area right outside DC and mobilize every human being to control that community, not in a military style, but in an idea, in this preservation of the Bill of Rights, and that we can have these conversations, and that we as men can go out fearlessly and have these conversations and convince people that they not only need to vote a certain way, but they need to let every one of their freaking local politicians know that I don't care who's in office. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to grow my own food. I'm going to raise my own chickens. I'm going to harvest my own rainwater. And I'm going to try to find a way to supply my own energy, because you guys are not just terrible at this. You're clearly working against every American in this capacity that you currently hold right now.
Which you're not wrong, but to my argument is, hypothetically, say we do these things and we nullify ourselves from the state. Well, a lot of states and local people rely on federal funding. Okay. And when you do something like that, the federal government can say, hey, we're just going to pull the plug on your ass. And that's why I say we need to arrest them, so that's obsolete. So that in itself is obsolete. It doesn't.
The federal funding is too, if you take care of yourself.
I'm sorry.
The federal funding is as well. It's obsolete if you just take care of yourself. That's my pitch. That's my
But not everybody can do that,
overwhelming pitch. Why?
because there's so many people who are reliant on the state, especially the old and the elderly, to where if it pulled state funding, it would be catastrophic.
So my message doesn't change. Hold up. Well, let's talk about it. My message does not change. Yes, the elderly and the disabled are going to have an exponentially tougher time, which means that you, as a family, not you necessarily, right? But us,
Well, it's about building
you,
a sense of
me,
community. We have to add this in there. It's about bringing community back.
volunteerism, agorism,
Yes.
anarchism. You
Yes.
have to take care of your people. And we're watching that. Like, this isn't some foreign concept or just some distant reality. We're seeing it happen. I just talked about it, man, right here. They're literally trying to do this and they're being threatened by local police that they're going to get arrested for helping out their community. That involves the elderly, that involves the disabled. So, what we need is, yo, if you're going to threaten me with trying to help the people of my community, then we're going to vote you out because you are a tyrant that is so much more violently tyrannical than anything coming out of Washington, D.C. than I've ever seen in my lifetime. Am I wrong or right?
Well, I mean, there's when you call them tyrannical more than you've ever seen, you're definitely right. What we're seeing right now, you guys are base AF. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Raggedy Ann. Love you long time.
Yep.
But
Awesome.
like
Thank you.
we need to have these conversations and we need to educate people on how these things work. We need to have people, stop saying, "Hey, you guys are lunatics," because well, let's go back to that. It goes back to messaging, right? I know personally my messaging is not the best. I'm extremely edgy and I'm extremely very in your face when I come to my
I
beliefs.
disagree.
But I mean that in the best way possible. I really, really do. When I
That's
come
why I disagree.
and say, like, F the government and we need to end this stuff and we need to start, being men and being self sufficient and doing stuff like that, a lot of people would look at that as radical. But we need to be radical right now. There is no other time better than right now to be radical. You need to radicalize your neighbors. You need to radicalize your family, your sons, your daughters, your wives, your pastors, everybody. Radicalize everybody you know right now. That's what we need to
I,
be doing.
I would say what's radical is exactly what the federal and local government is doing in response to this Hurricane Helene. And it's not the hurricane, right? And by the time it gets to, I don't know if y'all know, some of y'all are going to know this for sure, but I've lived in the deep south my entire life. I've dealt with hurricanes the whole time. When the eye wall hits the coast, that's the most damage done. So when you're telling me that a Cat 4 hurricane that hit Florida, and nobody talks about the fact that Ron DeSantis nailed it, knocked it out the park. The eye wall hit Florida. Florida. The most devastating part of that hurricane
That's
hit
yes.
Florida, and Ron DeSantis crushed it. He's the best governor in my lifetime, hands down. Nobody talks about that. So by the time it gets to North Carolina, that's not even a hurricane. It wasn't a hurricane. It wasn't even a tropical depression, to my knowledge. I think I have to it maybe have been a TD. Certainly wasn't a TS tropical storm, and it damn sure wasn't a hurricane. It was a storm system that used to be a hurricane that lacked the power of hurricane powers. A dam broke, which is infrastructure in a blue state. Now, maybe you call North Carolina a red state,
No,
but
it's not.
it's got a Democrat governor.
Let me chime into that real quick. Because I'll tell you something right now. In 2020, in 2021, my wife and I traveled down to South Carolina for vacation, North Myrtle Beach. That's our spot. We're probably going to live there within the next year or two. We love it there. Okay. We ran into some locals at we accidentally ran across this tiki bar at a hotel. We were turning around in the parking lot and we park. We're like, oh man, this bar looks kind of cool. We stop at this tiki bar. There's a group of old men, retired old men, and they're firing down beers. They're firing down. They're all drinking Mick Ultras. I'll never forget it because I was making fun of them about their beer. Who the hell drinks Mick Ultra, dude? That's water. But
The
anyways,
beta males.
yeah, seriously. But they said they were all from North Carolina. All of them. All these old guys came from North Carolina. They moved down there to get away from their communist governor. Straight up. Straight up. These old boomers left North Carolina to go to South Carolina to get away from their government. It's exactly what they told us.
Yeah, there's to my knowledge, there's more larger cities in North Carolina, and everybody knows that every large city is packed as a blue city. And if you actually wanted to go into the nuance of that, everyone would know why. And it is just so remarkably clarifying to understand that. However, I want you to elaborate a little bit further. Did they give specific reasons why they left
Well, this was during the COVID era. So it had everything to do with that.
during COVID?
This was, yeah, I went on vacation during COVID. I went on vacation in August of 2020, and I spent a week in North Carolina, or I'm sorry, South Carolina and Myrtle Beach. I spent a week there.
That's where Spike is.
And, you know, man, I would love to meet Spike. I would buy him and his wife dinner. I swear to God. But
Just
anyway,
go to a South Carolina freaking Libertarian Party convention. He's almost guaranteed to be there.
that's where we're going. When we leave here, we're going there. We're going to South Carolina. It is what it is. Like,
I'll text him and see if he'll be there, because I'm speaking out of turn here. Like, I'm not anybody related to Spike other than that he's a good friend of mine and he's a mentor. That's it. So I don't know anything about his scheduling. I'm sorry.
but like at the end of the day, they left North Carolina because of the communist governor that they had. They said that straight up. Our governor's a commie. We had to go. You know, and Myrtle Beach is actually very close to the North Carolina border. It's extremely close. You know, it's not like these guys probably traveled.
Right. No, yeah, it's very right there. I think Myrtle Beach is, primarily in South Carolina.
You know, and there's coastal Carolina. You can go on boat rides and see the dolphins between the two. They'll take you. That's how close it is. We did it all, man. But,
That's awesome.
the fact of the matter is that they left the blue state to be a part of a red state because of the restrictions that was given. Like when we went down there in 2020 during our vacation, did they have signs in the shops and stuff that said, oh, well, maybe, you need to wear your mask or whatever? They didn't enforce that shit. There was no enforcing that. Now, everything shut down by 10 p.m. There was that. When we were down there, like all the restaurants, bars, everything was closed at 10 p.m., which was perfect for a guy like me because by 9 p.m., like my eyes are really heavy. So like it was amazing,
Nice.
But like we got to wake up to the fact that people were leaving the local state to go down to another state because they didn't believe in what the local government was doing. You're seeing it here in Michigan. People are leaving Michigan in droves. They really are. They're out of here. They're either going down to Florida or Georgia, South Carolina, Texas. They're going to places like that. They don't want anything to do with this.
Oh, you mean red states? They're leaving blue states to go to red states.
Yes.
But we as libertarians are somehow supposed to never acknowledge or admit under any circumstances that the two parties aren't the same anymore, y'all. This isn't our 1990s libertarian versus Republican Democrat. I mean, what? If you are a libertarian in a blue area, you are under threat, the same as MAGA is in the sense of censorship and, political ideology being stifled. I'm trying to be YouTube careful here. But let's be real. Be freaking honest for 5 seconds. No, Trump is not the same as Kamala Harris. No, the Republicans aren't the same as the Democrats. The DNC is far more evil than we've ever been able to anticipate ever. And the GOP is just still as much stupid and incompetent as we've always known, because that's who these guys elect. I mean, but to equate the two on the same level of evil and dictatorship is just psychotic. Stop it. We have a chance. Not you, Shaun. I'm talking about everybody else. When I say stop it and I'm fussing, I'm just ranting right now. Right. We got to stop this nonsense. There's only one side that would even consider our cooperation. Free Ross, Donald Trump, and Chase Oliver ain't sniffing the White House. I'm not telling you who to vote for. Go vote for whoever you want. You can vote for whoever you want in my state. It don't matter, bro. Freaking Trump's going to win Mississippi and Louisiana 10 out of 10 times. I still encourage you to go vote because you still have the opportunity to do so. Even if you think it means something or not, you still have the opportunity to do that. So I encourage you to take that opportunity, but
And
never, ever go ahead.
let me add something to this. You want to see the libertarian movement go forward? Do you want to be taken seriously? Sorry, purist. You're about to be very, very mad at me, and I'm probably about to get some very upset DMs, and I don't care. Start running as Republicans and Democrats. You're not going to win as libertarians. You're
You ain't
not
gonna
going
run as
to.
a Democrat.
You're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. You want to know why New Hampshire works? New Hampshire doesn't have any actual libertarians in office. They have people running as Republicans and Democrats, and it's working. I'm sorry, guys. It's working there. But like,
what area do you have? I'm sorry, I need to cut you off there. Do you have an example of where a libertarian, like a real one, not one that wants to trans the kids and you know abort all the babies and pro open, not that, not just a progressive cosplaying as a libertarian because they like furries, but like a real serious human being that could actually run as a Democrat because in an area and win. Really? It's like every sane Democrat I know is now freaking pro-Trump, which is something I said years ago, and nobody took me seriously. I told you I have 4+ years when me and my boss started this business, and what we did is what we have still going is pest control. I told y'all years ago, I told not necessarily y'all, you may be hearing it for the first time, but many people years ago, I said, I'm walking into every area that I work at is almost a major city type stuff. And it's almost predominantly black. And no, I got laughed at when I walked into these rooms, when I walked into these houses and apartments, and I seen black family after black family hoisting literal Trump flags watching Fox News. So either we're going to at least try and be a speed bump and say, hey, that's okay. I'm absolutely glad you're leaving the brainwashed plantation. But hey, look, maybe there's a better option. And I didn't even get a chance. It was just full speed. Trump. That's their guy.
And you're seeing it more here in Detroit. Like there's a lot of people in the black community who are pro-Trump. I talk to folks every day, and not to say, that's the right thing or whatever, because I have my grievances with Trump big time. And that's a whole other show. But
Dude, I'm an ever Trumper.
But like, I am not an ever Trumper. I voted for him in 2016. I've always been honest about that. I voted for Donald Trump because I got scared. I went, in 2008, in 2007, I found Ron Paul. 2008, I voted for Ron Paul. 2012, I voted for Ron Paul. Gary Johnson was not my homeboy in 2016, not at all. And as a matter of fact, Ron Paul wasn't the libertarian candidate in 12 or 8. He wasn't. It was Bob Barr, who was a horrible candidate, like we're seeing now.
It's just you're just speaking my language, bro. The fact that Ron Paul was not overwhelmingly the nominee for the GOP in any cycle he ever led election-wise is criminal. Mentally criminal.
There's a reason why. And it's because he is anti-war. This can all tie in.
This is changing.
Right.
It's changing. Now. Yeah, but this is like, if we're going to be serious, 70% of Americans don't know who Chase Oliver is. I know you don't advocate for Chase Oliver. I know you're an anarcho-capitalist, same as me. We have to work within the system that we're working in.
Yes.
Nobody listened to Ron Paul.
No.
Or even Rand Paul.
I voted
recently.
The only primary I ever voted in my entire life was in 16, and I actually voted for Rand Paul in 16 during the primary.
Just shows how wise you are. And here we are. We got every political, even Ben Shapiro, who freaking bashed Ron Paul for decades because that guy's as smart as he is. Look, Ben Shapiro is a brilliant human being, but brilliance brings blind spots for sure. And one of those absolutely is foreign policy. His main one is foreign policy. I reject a lot of what he says, but he's smart about it. The thing he's retarded on, stupid on, is foreign policy. And he bashed Rand Paul for years. And guess what? Him and Glenn Beck and all of the GOP are saying today, Ron Paul was right. We live in an inverted universe where now the GOP representatives, not the GOP, because the GOP is still sold out to the military industrial complex. And I don't want to get into who we do or do not think controls that, because I know for a fact it's the U.S. We control it, not anybody else that starts with the J's. Look,
we should have a debate on this someday.
No, there's no debate. They have 6 million people. There's no debate. There's 6 million people in Israel. They do not have the ground force. They are completely reliant on us and not the other way around. It's crazy that we even consider the fact that they control us. No. We can completely control them. But yes, you are correct, Shaun. I'm sorry. We will get that on another day.
But if you go against the war machine, you're out. This is why they hate Trump.
Yes.
This is, dude, check this out. And you can go back and look at this in 2016. I'm telling you guys right now, this is where Trump became just an, not necessarily, well, he became an enemy then, but like he wasn't just an opponent, he became an enemy. And that's when he spoke out against Iraq. Knock yourselves out, guys. Please, for the love of God, go ahead. When he spoke out and told the truth about the Iraqi war, that turned from an opponent to this is going to be a bloodbath, as he would say.
100%.
Because that's when they went after him hard. They went hard after Trump after that. Now,
but he went hard at them on the debate stage. Your brother lied us in the war that we never had to get into. He lied, and now we have 1 million Iraqis dead. Oh, 100%.
But that was the game changer. That was the end, because you don't understand. Most people don't understand who runs the show. It's really not the government. They're actually third in charge. The governments are third in charge. The people who are in charge are the central bankers. It's not even close. They're the ones who call all the shots, whether it comes to, interest rates, inflation, wars, stuff like that. They're in charge of everything. They're in charge of the monetary system, and he who controls the money controls the world, period. That's a fact. Please come back at me and fact check me. I'd love to debate you on that. Anyways, then it goes to big pharma, corporations, military industrial complex, defense contractors, and stuff like that. But they're the ones who are actually laundering money for the central banks, right? But they're the ones who are also the lobbyists for the people in government. This is how this works. So they're the ones who are telling the government, well, we give you all this money. We need you to do this, this, and this, and this. But really what it is the central banks. The governments are just the goons for everything, for all of it. And when you go against that war machine, you are cooked. This is one of the reasons why libertarians don't get elected, is not only do they want to end the central banking system, they want to end all the wars. And they can't do that because wars are what keeps the central banks in business. If there was no wars, this is a wrap. This is a wrap. I'm telling you guys right now, wake up, read Creature. Read, The Case Against the Fed by Murray Rothbard. Read End the Fed by Ron Paul. Read those books and understand what this is, you guys. This has nothing to do with government at this point. This is central banking power, which, by the way, you guys, I just read a story today. I can't remember where I read it. A buddy of mine sent it to me, but they kept calling it a bail-in program instead of a bailout program. And what it is the central banks, yes, the central banks are bailing into the independent banks. So they're calling it, it's just a reword like they do everything else. But the central bank's sole power was to swallow up all the independent banks and become one power. So when they're calling it a bail-in, it really is a bail-in because they are taking all these banks who are independent outside of the central system and making their own. It's happening in real time. When you see people like JP Morgan taking over these banks that are failing, dude, JP Morgan is the Federal Reserve. Straight up. Knock yourselves out. Look it up. The original OG JP Morgan was one of the 7 who went to Jekyll Island and came up with the Federal Reserve. This is a fact. So when you're seeing JP Morgan swallow up banks, this is partly the central banks swallowing up the independent banks. It's a bail-in. It's not a bailout.
And what he's referring to is that the founders of JP Morgan all had family ties to the same people that control JP Morgan now, and they were all part of the Rockefeller, central, the
Rothschilds, the Bank of
the
England.
Rothschilds. Yeah, the creature of Jekyll Island, which is the Federal Reserve. And if you look throughout history, and everyone loves to reference the Roman history, which is great because the end of their era, the end of their empire was absolutely central banking. It started off with prosperity, actually, because prosperity breeds laziness. Laziness breeds gross men that would rather rely on the state because the state has more money than they would rather have to work for, which results in weak men. And then you wind up with totalitarianism because the state realizes that they can take over these weak men. And then you have to have strong men to get yourself out because you can always vote your way into communism and you will always have to shoot your way out.
Amen.
Period. Right. Full stop. And so what is it that we can do to help push your show? You need some sponsors? Do you need some clicks? And go for it.
Like, share, subscribe to Buds in Reality, BUDS, letter N, Reality. If you're watching the show, I know you're smart. It's a homage to Guns N' Roses. BNR, GNR, get it. You guys all figure it out. I'm on all platforms, IG, Facebook. I'm most relevant on X. I do have a TikTok, whatever you want to call it. I am in search of sponsors right now because of the whole record label debacle. But, I genuinely just do this because I love it. I love it. I have a degree in radio broadcasting. The whole political thing just kind of came through later on. I try to bring out the best messages possible, and that's just my spiel, man. I would hope that you guys would, like, share, subscribe to all things. I want you, to like, share, and subscribe to Noel's stuff. He's doing great work. Actually, one of the people I look up to, like, my libertarian trifecta, it's Noel, it's Shane Hazel, and it's Spike Cohen. That's my trifecta, and I got Michael White in there. And I have Larry Sharp in there. I love those guys. I love all you guys. You're great voices for liberty. But we also need to be more mindful of how we're getting our message across. And that speaks to me more than anybody. Noel, you're a much better messenger than I am, just because, like, you're not going to just be out there and telling people to go F themselves. I'll be the first guy to do it. I got to get better about that. But, like, really, you guys, like, I do this because I love it. I do this for the love of our nation, our country, and our community. I love you guys.
Yep. Yeah, he truly does. He truly does, which is kind of funny because you were saying that we have totally different styles bro, we follow each other on Twitter and we interact. Have you never seen my Twitter? I will tell somebody immediately to go absolutely wreck
You're more of a
themselves.
pound sand guy than go F themselves. I'm the first one to be like, go F yourself. And you'll be like, go pound sand. You don't know what you're talking about. Whatever. Here's this, and this. I'll be like, here's this, and this. And by the way, you can go find yourself a soldering iron and bend over and take it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the best messaging that we need to have. David Friedman,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Zach, David Friedman is definitely somebody.
I pulled this up. I don't know who, or I'm not super familiar with this person. I don't know, man. I got a lot of people. The name sounds familiar. Friedman, though, kind of sounds
David
Jewish.
Friedman, Milton Friedman's son.
Oh, that's why I know the name Friedman.
Yeah.
I was talking about me and my boss, the guy. We started a company together. It's like certain words just sound like Jewish to me because I spend too much time online.
Why are all the great economists Jews? You know, I mean that in the best way possible, by the way. You know, but Rothbard, you know, guys like that. By the way, like if
Rothbard, Ayn Rand, like
Ayn Rand, Carol Roth. Oh my God, Carol Roth is amazing.
I've had her multiple times. We DM often. She's only, for those of you that don't know, Carol Roth. She is if you respect anything I have to say whatsoever outside of the culture war, when it comes to like politics and economics, trust me on this. Carol Roth is the only economist that I fully trust. I've had her on my show. We talk all the time. She's incredibly genuine. She's wildly intelligent. Yes. Wildly. Like there's times when she gets on the Glenn Beck show radio program almost every week. She is employed by the Blaze, Glenn Beck's brain project. So this is not someone we should be dismissing at all. And you add on the fact that she is literally willing to come down to our level, you know, and our being almost kind of arbitrarily useless because I have 30,000 followers. I think you're soon enough, you'll be closing on 10. Yeah. So you're not even 5,000. Soon enough, 10,000.
But she came
and she comes down to us.
She came to my show, which, by the way, let me add something to you because you said you talked to her a lot. She told me straight up she was a big fan of yours. She told me that straight up.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's also a phenomenal author.
Oh, my God. Do we need to plug You Will Own Nothing real quick? Do we need to plug
that? You got some words on it real quick? Because I got it right here.
I've
got two of her books right here.
I actually
now this has got to be clipped and shared to Carol because
Carol, get on our shows immediately. We love you long time.
Yeah, I'll text her. So You Will Own Nothing.
I had her on right after she dropped that.
You will own
that book
a house, a car.
Yes.
Yeah. You will own nothing, right? She's got out a house, car, a business, stocks, all this, your life scratched out. You will own nothing. That's the second book. This is the one that she presented during, she finished right after COVID.
Yes.
The War on Small Business, how the government used the pandemic to crush the backbone of America. Carol Roth.
One of the greatest ever.
Honestly. I'm going to clip this and send it to her. I'll probably just text her.
Send it to her.
Yeah, we'll clip it. Amazing. And again, I can't stress this enough. This is a person that cares. She goes on podcasts like mine and Shaun, and she's a regular guest on probably the #1 radio show in America via Glenn Beck.
Let me show you something real quick. That's really funny about that. You say that because when she came on my show, I might have had maybe roughly 1,000-ish followers, maybe a little more. But I'm going to show you the flag that was in the background of our show. That's so funny. Carol Roth came on my show for this. Are you threatening me? That's what I had in the background for our show. She came on my show with that. That's how awesome she is. Seriously.
Did she say something about it?
Before.
Yeah.
But she did at the end of the show when we were off air or whatever, she thanked me for such a cool interview and laid back. So I appreciated that so much.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
But she's amazing. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers online, and she's on the Glenn Beck radio show as the premier economist. She's the only economist that I truly trust with intention. I'm not saying she's the best. I don't know. Okay. But I trust her. And she's a former New York City banker. And she's absolutely brilliant. And everyone should go follow her. Not to make this a big Carol Roth love fest. I want to get to this last thing before we get off the air. And I wanted to get to it a long time ago, but our viewership is still climbing, so I guess we'll still go. One last thing, going back to everything that we've talked about tonight, with all of the government intervention and totalitarianism, the absolute despotic state of our elected officials on a federal and local level, because we've talked about what these cops will do. Conservatives, they will do their jobs, and that's arrest you for trying to help people. Let's see what Biden had to say real quick, and then we'll get off of here. Published October 2nd, 2024, 6:32 p.m. by the New York Post. President Biden called on Americans Wednesday to, quote unquote, put politics aside to focus on Hurricane Helene recovery efforts. Okay. Moments before stepping on his own message by saying that anyone who doubts climate change, their role in the disaster, they must be brain dead. Quote, in a moment like this, we put politics aside. At least we should put it all aside. And we have here the retiring 81-year-old president saying during a recovering briefing in Raleigh, North Carolina, there are no Democrats or Republicans. There are only Americans. And our job is to help as many people as we can, as quickly as we can, and as thoroughly as we can. Fact. Not a fact. Nobody can deny the impact of the climate crisis anymore. At least I hope they don't. They must be brain dead if they do. Unbelievable. Because of a dam that broke. Which brings me right back to what I said earlier for all of you still listening, which clearly looks like everybody, because we're way over the 120 or at 124 now, way over the viewership that we had earlier, which means that most people still tuned in. Incredible. These people will absolutely play politics with your lives. They don't care about you. You need to focus local. He's blaming the dam breaking over climate change instead of the infrastructure package that he inflated the money, the currency on by printing trillions of dollars. And now he's trying to say, don't play politics. And in the same breath says, if you don't believe that because a dam broke, not because of a hurricane, the hurricane was decimated at that point. It was a tropical depression at best. Had
mountains just
nothing
don't
to
flood, by the
do
way.
with climate change and everything to do with infrastructure. Shaun.
Mountains just don't flood. They're very high elevation. Asheville is in the mountains of North Carolina. Please see a map. Knock yourselves out. Seriously, I'm just saying. I actually know somebody who had a property there. They rented out and sold in the last couple of years. I know it's in the mountains for a fact. But let's play this game right now. And I'm going to try to keep my cool because I feel some type of way about it. It really makes me angry. They just sent $16 billion between Ukraine and Israel for their war efforts while people are underwater in the United States of America. Oh, man. And he's trying to tell you that this isn't political? He's literally willing to let Americans live underwater. They're arresting her. They're threatening to arrest people who are willing to help these people who are underwater. And they just sent 16 billion mother effing dollars. This is a family show.
That's right.
Israel and Ukraine. These people hate you. These people are mocking you. They're devaluing their dollar with their foreign policy bullshit. Enough already. This is enough. This is ridiculous. Mountains just don't end up underwater, okay? A hurricane didn't do this, okay? Climate change didn't do this. If climate change was real, let me tell you something about insurance companies. Insurance companies are far from stupid. They're actually very smart, is contrary to popular belief.
Incredibly smart.
Kind of like the government. Kind of like people.
It's all sorry, let me chime in here. Just to piggyback off of what Shaun is saying here. The insurance firms are just filled with attorneys that know the law. Okay, so in one of the founding fathers' fundamental principles was that we should make all legalese interpretable by the normal person, because they knew what kind of tyranny and what kind of dependence upon lawfare that you would need if they made the language, almost to a point, indistinguishable from normal English. And that's what we've done. So that's a great point, Shaun.
But here's the thing,
I had to.
And insurance companies are not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. And you know what else insurance companies do? They deny people all the time, constantly, on the regular.
Yeah, so because of the language.
Riddle me this. If climate change was real, why are insurance companies insuring multi-million-dollar homes owned by elites on coastal waters? Please, riddle me that. Riddle me that, because you can't. Because it's not real.
I will. Do you want a counter perspective?
Yeah.
Because they're going to make money off of it. Because what their fear mongering drives the problem. I'm thinking about this off the top of my head right now. I just realized this after you said it. So thank you for bringing it up. That's awesome. Incredible. I anticipate that what they're expecting is that the fear will go up and the property value will go down, and they will be able to confiscate that land. Yeah. No, okay. So confiscate's the wrong word. They would be able to purchase that land and produce a much better multiplicity of, I don't know, maybe housing that would benefit them. How far am I off the mark?
Well, I mean, look at what happened after Maui. Maui was on fire. Who bought up a bunch of that property? Oprah Winfrey. All of a sudden, she's got all this land property in Hawaii that was set on fire. Why does she want to buy that so bad? Why does she want to buy that so bad? Gee, I wonder why. This is a sick world.
Maybe
this is sick.
Maybe. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's vile. This is all to keep the elites where they're at and to keep us peasants where we're at. It's time for peasants to wake up to this stuff for real. This is
You,
happening in real time.
you know what's crazy to me? One of the biggest things that I figured out was that, and I'll switch screens here because I think this is important. One of the things that I figured out was that fundamentally people don't understand economics, which has caused such a significant issue. And I believe that to be because of the Industrial Revolution, where they made economics more boring than important. Okay. I believe that the abandonment of the woman in the home raising the children because of what they did via the Industrial Revolution in demanding that you must keep up with the Joneses. I believe those things to be also an advancement to women's rights during the Industrial Revolution, which capitalized upon the woman not being in the home and being the teacher and instructor and mother of her children. Instead, you shipped them off to industrial schools. Not industrial, I wish, but government ran. You guys get it. And I think that the communism that we see today is unlike any other form of communism than I've ever seen because people have so much knowledge. I think it's so camouflaged now that you almost even can't call it communism. I think it has to be expressed in one word: demonic. I think that we are reaching an era where there will be a very thin veil between the spiritual and the political. And when I say the political, I mean the economic. Something I learned from Thomas Daniel Queter a long time ago, who's a guy quadriplegic, basically in a chair, just outstanding human being. He's hilarious. Look him up, Thomas Queter. He said something to me when I was just getting started in this, and it resonated with my soul, in which I believe to be like a Holy Spirit almost manner, and that everything can be related back to economics. Every violation of human rights, every disgusting situation can be appropriated towards economics. I'll take it a step further and say that when the world fell into sin via Adam and Eve, even that was an economic decision because she was lied to and she said, okay, well, I will have this monetary like um, adjacent ability to the one true God that told me that I shouldn't do it. This thing is telling me that I can have this much value as the same as the one person that said, don't do that, it's bad for you. So I think everything can be and almost should be related back to economics, but it should be on a spiritual level first because we are leaving the era of politics. We are leaving the era of political discourse. This era, this Western ideology promoted first and foremost by an America that some people hate so much in their founding. But you now have all of this to fall back on to make your argument. Okay. And I think we're leaving that era if we're not careful. And I'm speaking to all of you that think censorship is a good thing. Free will is the ultimate decider. And the sooner we get back to a morality shared society based in Judeo Christian values, doesn't matter if you hate it, it only matters that nobody ever advocated for women's rights until Jesus. Okay, Christianity gives you the idea of liberty. Full stop. Christianity, the teachings of Jesus gives you women's rights. We can argue about where those end and whatnot, but nobody gives you that outside of Jesus Christ. Christianity, Judeo-Christian values. What we are devolving into is communism. Just a new level of communism. And it should be rejected at all costs because it rejects free speech. It is totalitarianism.
It's the abolition of private property. I mean, if that isn't a wake-up call to, everybody, like communism is a complete abolition of all private property. You will own nothing. As Carol Roth said, you know what I mean? Like these globalists have been, these people at the WEF have been talking about it forever. You will own nothing. How does that sound? Seriously, say that to yourself out loud over and over and over. You will own nothing. It sounds terrible. And we're living
and be happy.
And be happy. You own nothing and be
Which
happy.
is it dissect those both, right? Dissect the first part, I will own nothing, which you were doing a great job, and then I interrupted you. But then it's piggybacked. It's a tail car, or the tail car is, and you will be happy. So you'll own nothing. Here's a demand. You will own nothing. And then here's a gaslight. And you will be happy.
Which is what we're living right now. This is why renters are paying $3,000 a month in rent to live somewhere. And they can't even afford to do it. So they have to have multiple roommates or whatever it may be. Or they have to rent a place in a sketchy neighborhood because it's cheaper. Right? I know what it's like to be a renter. I'm 44 years old right now. I didn't buy my first house till I was 39. I was 39 years old when I bought my first house. I didn't want to own anything because I didn't like the responsibility of it. But you want to know what happened in those previous years? I was controlled by a landlord under a lease that I couldn't do this, that, or the other if I wanted to do it. And they could terminate my lease at any moment. And that happened to me one time. I rented a house from somebody. And, after my lease was up, I went month to month and they said, hey, we'll give you till, this month to, get out or whatever and figure out life or whatever. They're very cool about it. But then 3 months before that month, they're like, hey, by the way, my daughter's going to take over the house. You got to get out.
What?
Yeah. But I wasn't under a lease. I was month to month at that point. So I was under that. You know what I mean? You will own nothing and be happy. I wasn't happy about that. I had to move. They had control. I wasn't under a contract or anything like that. This happens to people all the time.
But that's kind of what I'm alluding to, is that not necessarily the specifics of those local situations, although very important, but it's more of the communistic, demonic reference to you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Well, I mean, is happy paying $3,000 a month for rent? Is happy paying, 25% interest on a vehicle? Is happy, paying an astronomical amount a month, for groceries? Is being happy paying, an astronomical amount of money just to get by and survive? No, that's not happy at all. That's actually very miserable. And they're doing it. It's working. Whatever they're doing is working flawlessly. And the worst part about it is people are buying into it. The masses are buying into We don't need
How
to own
about
anything. We're cool with paying $3,500 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. We're cool with paying, $300 a week for a family of two to buy groceries. We're cool with, the 30% interest on the vehicle that we don't own yet because we haven't paid for it yet. But mind you, I'm paying 30%, per year interest or whatever it may be. Like, nothing good is going to come out of this agenda. Nothing. It's evil. It's absolutely terrifying to a normie, or not a normie, I should say,
I disagree.
anybody with a brain who's going, hey man, my mortgage. Let me put things into perspective for you. The girls next door to me. I live in a 3-bedroom, one bath shack. It's 1,100 square feet. There ain't nothing to it. It's great for my wife and I. We don't have kids or anything, so it's fine for us. But that's what we live in. The people next door to me live in the same exact house and are paying $1,700 a month for rent. My mortgage is nowhere near that. Just to put that in perspective for you. Mind you, I'm 2 miles outside of the 8-mile, cutoff between Detroit and, Oakland County. Mind you, that's so $1,700 a month to live here. You want to go into, white suburbia and rent a house like that? $3,000 easily. Do you want to go to the next town over called Huntington Woods? We saw a house for rent, just off one of the roads that we live by. They want almost $3,000 a month for that to rent. My mortgage isn't even half that.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's because they can. That's why.
Who?
Because it's because of all the regulation.
Who can? Who?
The people in charge, the state. They run all the regulations. They're the ones who put price controls on things like that. This is why rents are so high everywhere. Look at what Javier Milei did in Argentina. He lifted all the rent restriction and price controls. Rent has gone down tenfold. Government regulations are not your friend. You're seeing it in real time. Look at what's going on in the United States. Look at what's happening in Argentina, which, by the way, the U.S. media is completely bastardizing what he's doing down there. But the truth is that they've lifted all government restrictions on rental markets and price controls and such, got rid of the central bank, and all of a sudden things are affordable. All of a sudden they have a balanced budget, which they haven't seen in decades. They don't have any inflation, which that was a state or a country that was seeing 150 to 200% inflation per year for well over a decade. And all of a sudden, all this stuff is poof, it's gone because they lifted regulations. Hey, guys, it's time to wake up.
Seems to me like you're kind of confirming what I was saying, and that today's version of Western communism doesn't look anything like it used to. What's happening right now is a different form and more sophisticated and intellectual form of communism. But make no mistake, it is communism. It's just delivered in such a better, more sophisticated package because let's be honest, we have better and more sophisticated minds. We have more advanced technology like you're looking at right now. We're talking about this on an internet bandwidth. I've got lights plugged into a thing of a shop that I built myself. This is a different form than we've seen before. They can deliver their message in such a manner that is unparalleled to any that we've ever seen. We have to be ready. We have to be prepared. We have to focus locally. We have to be self-sufficient to the best of our ability. I'm not self sufficient to the best of my ability. I'm trying to get there. Again, let off the show. Bought $300 worth of apocalyptic supplies. Why? Because I don't want to be the one that's not being able to get uh, supplies from Walmart because the strike lasts too long or because a dam breaks and maybe it was blown up. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, who knows? But it could devastate you. So focus, spread the word, clip the show, share it, please, and follow us because and what I'm about to do is embark on the mission that I feel like now God has called me to do, and that's run full speed ahead with the biblical message, and that you should be prepared for the end times because I can see the end times coming, not because I'm a prophet, but because I am very, very good at analyzing data and putting together information and calculating some sort of reasonable response. And sometimes it's perfect. Most times it's not, but I'm almost not wrong. So let's get together. Let's join the community. Let's follow each other. Let's share each other's shows. And I'm telling you, we are in a position that requires the attentiveness as to whether or not we might be even stepping on a mine. But more importantly, how we prepare if it gets real bad. Shaun, I'm giving you the last word. We have we went way long, brother, but
This meant
I
to
get at
happen
this point
when
right
I'm
now we're at
around.
one at the at yeah at this point now we're at 1 hour 48. So we might as well just go 2 hours. What you got?
You know what? I'm going to say this. Number one, get right with the Lord because Noel's not wrong. We are definitely living Revelation. If you're not familiar with Revelation, I suggest you get familiar with it. It's the last book of the Bible. It's about the end times, um, and it's something that even if
Hold
you're
up. Wait. Wait. I gotta interrupt. Sorry.
okay,
If you're gonna go into eschatology, which is the study of the end times, then you're gonna need to read all of the New Testament and you need to read Daniel and Psalms as well.
I think Acts
Um
is important
and
too during that.
well, that doesn't have anything to do with eschatology, but Acts is absolutely the beginning of the church, right? That's after Jesus Christ was tortured and died, and then stole the keys from hell and went back to heaven. Well, actually, came to earth first and then resurrected to heaven. And so he's the first person to do that with just the power of the Holy Spirit, and nobody else is concerned. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. If you want to study the um, early history of the church. It's phenomenal. It cannot be refuted. It's by some of the most brilliant scholars of their time. That's not a joke. I love that people want to poo poo the literature of canonized scripture, but you can't because it was almost all written by scholars, people of their time that were the most respected intellectuals. So, anyway, go ahead.
Well, I bring up Acts because I think it's important to understand the beginning to understand the end, if that makes any sense at all. You know, it's just one of those things where
Well, for the early church, yeah.
it all kind of ties into it all kind of ties in together. But also, like on top of that, you really need to start getting involved with your community, focus on your community, and just spread love instead of, the division and the hate that they're trying to breed into our society, which they are doing flawlessly, by the way. We need to start investing in ourselves and each other. You know what I mean? Like, invest in each other. And I don't mean that in a financial way. Like, you just need to invest in each other as human beings
That's right.
and as, brothers and sisters of Christ. Like, even if
That's
you're not
right.
a believer, we're all still brothers and sisters of Christ. We all bleed red, dude. We all
Yeah.
bleed red. And we have,
Investment in his people is not necessarily monetary. That's an excellent point.
we have to,
You invest in people to try to make sure that you're encouraging them and promoting them and promoting their relationship with Christ and to be the best person around their community that they could possibly be. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. I
no,
thought that was
no,
a great point. I wanted to elaborate.
but we need to be more community driven, community focused. I understand neighbors stay away from me. I'm an introvert. Like, I'm a hardcore introvert. My favorite night, is by myself with a glass of bourbon and a book. I don't want to deal with people, honestly. But, like, I understand that we need to do this in order to become what we want to do and be a society and be, flourishing and plentiful and bringing money and industry, around our communities. We have to do that together. We don't do that as much as libertarians be like, we're individuals, we're individuals, we're individuals. Yes, we are individuals, but we also have to focus on our community, which is outside of individualism. You have to bring people in and,
Yep.
love and live and laugh. We need to learn how to laugh again, make America laugh again. For
Ha.
crying out loud, we are
Nice.
so tied up in just all the things that are bad, myself included. But we need to laugh. We need to joke. We need to make fun of each other. Like, I'm a Gen Xer, man. We made yo mama jokes. Like, we said bad things about each other's mothers and laughed about it. Like, we said bad things about each other and we laughed about it. It's like, who could outdo the other guy? Who's going to be more offensive? We laughed about it. We had a beer at the end. We need to bring that back. We need to just,
No doubt. No doubt. I have said for a long time that I think, and you can literally ask my wife, and I'll plug it. I don't get paid for this at all, but I'll plug it. Kill Tony is the greatest YouTube show ever. Period. Maybe the greatest show ever. Comedy is what will bring us back. You know how many freaking racist and mentally ill jokes that I've heard on that show. It has been incredible. That is the best comedy on a bash comedy. The people that are sick of the censorship. That, because ultimately, the First Amendment is what brings us back to total freedom. Our ability to say what we want, free of censorship. Whether it be social media or not, we all know that social media companies, or at least most of them, to some degree, are subsidized and controlled. We know this by the Twitter files that, like, Meta was being controlled by the U.S. government. And Twitter was being influenced by the U.S. government before Elon took over. Comedy. Unabashed. Comedy. Like on Kill Tony is the route out of this what's the word I'm looking for, this like atmosphere, this disparagement. Like, there's hope, outside of Jesus. Jesus is the ultimate hope, and you should never deny that. That is the number one. But if we're talking about society, comedy, comedy, stand-up comedy, roasting people, Remember when that was the thing? Yeah, it's coming back. All of a sudden, you roast somebody, you're offensive. No, who cares? No, we're roasting you. Kill Tony. Fantastic. Absolutely great.
You know what? We'll end this show on a joke that I heard online the other day then. And it's a little tasteless, but it's very funny. How do you tell the difference between an Indian and an Arab? Just straight up
One.
ask them if they're 7-Eleven or 9-11.
Yeah.
I heard that online. That's my tasteless joke for the day.
No. That's what's gonna help society get back to normal, because people are genuinely seeing a show like Kill Tony, which is the number one show on YouTube, number one live show on YouTube, and they're seeing offensive jokes. What has been the downfall of our culture? The fact that we can't make fun of people. Period. You can't make fun of me because I'm gay. You can't make fun of me because I'm black. You can't make fun of me because I'm white. You can't make fun of me because I'm trans. Nah. When we get back to that free speech part, the free speech part, like, I don't hate you for who you are, but I'm going to make fun of you. And then you accept that and laugh about it, our country heals immediately. I'm telling you, I'm dead set on this. Outside of Jesus Christ, who's the only hope, the second best option is offensive comedy.
Make America laugh again. MAFA. We're gonna let's make that a hashtag. We're gonna hashtag MAFA. Or laugh.
Hashtag it.
Oh wait, I can't even MAFA. Where does that have to say laugh? Make America Mala. Make America laugh again. MAFA. Jesus. Oh my God. I was thinking make America free again, not make America laugh. Now I'm making fun of myself. See, it's a joke, really. Mala, though. Hashtag Mala. Make America laugh again. Please.
Mala.
Mala.
It works. It works. It works just as good as Maha. I thought MAGA didn't really work, but it does. But Maha and Mala works phenomenally. Absolutely.
Well, I like
Absolutely.
Maha too, because we need to get there. Even my fat ass needs to get in shape. Let's get healthy.
Look, man, I don't even know how you have to be just so far off the rails to not try to even consider what JFK, RFK Jr. is saying. I don't know. Now, libertarians are a new sort of breed where Donald Trump and his whole family, or at least some of his family, are saying free Ross. And like, your option is Chase Oliver. For what are you trying to achieve? Like,
It's really not an option. There's no options here. There's really no clear-cut legit options. My best option is no state at all, but we're not going to get there. So make America rage again. Yes. Yes, Mara. I like Raggedy Ann. Raggedy Ann, give me a follow.
yeah, I want to follow my Raggedy Ann too. She's on YouTube. Can you follow me on here? Follow Shaun on. I like her a lot. Raggedy Ann. Maybe it's a guy. I don't know. But I want everybody to follow her. Is there a way that you can comment to where we can follow you on a better platform and promote you?
Yeah, because I've never seen them.
He's on Buds in Reality.
Buzz in Reality, I'm everywhere, man. You can find me anywhere. Just that same handle. I'm following. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna get on my phone.
We want to follow you. What's your Twitter handle? So while we wait for that, I just want to remind, because we got off on a tangent there, and rightfully so. And we all we all want that, but
Yes.
in reality, yes.
But all one word.
Raggedy Ann, we're
All
asking
one
for
together.
yours though.
Yep.
Okay, I'm asking for yours though, Raggedy Ann, because I've got 30.3, I think, thousand followers. So the sometimes the notifications are not something that my
We need
mental
to
health
get me
can
to
handle.
30K. I'm one of the most radical people you will find on the app. I promise you that. It's not even close. This is why I got kicked off the record label, for crying out loud.
There it is. I'm Dickus Buckus.
Like Dick Bucket, dude. I love it. You must be from Chicago, Raggedy Ann. I love that.
That's incredible.
I love
This is don't tell anyone.
Don't tell
Like
anyone.
I wasn't about to put it on the show that's about to air for thousands of people. We're live right now. There's 133 people watching right now.
Welcome to the watch list, Raggedy Ann. Welcome to the watch.
That's awesome. That's funny.
Well,
Okay.
we're at 2 hours now. We're over 2 hours. Holy smokes, this is way over.
Yeah, 202. Yeah. She said, "I'm radical too, so you might get mad."
Yeah, right. We'll be best
Yeah,
friends.
you have an upside down American flag. We already knew where you were. Trust me.
Yep.
There's a point where we're like, yeah, we get that. All right, so we got to get off of here. I'm gonna give you the floor. Give us what you want to do and how we can help you.
You know what? You know what I want to do? I want to bring liberty back to the United States. It ain't even about me. Feel free to follow me, follow my show, like everything, subscribe, all of it. At that handle is for everything, all socials. Look it up, knock yourselves out. But what I really want to do is make liberty relevant and make liberty great and bring a sense of normalcy back to this country. That's what I want to do. That's it. I'm not looking for a lot of things. I just want to bring back some, Lord have mercy, normalcy to this country like we had back in the day. I'm old school. I'm a Gen Xer. We had that.
My man, I can't thank you enough. Normalcy. Yeah, like maybe we should just have the conversation, y'all, and bring everything back. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, I would say follow Shaun Collins. How can outside of you see it right there? Is that correct? At Buzz in Reality.
Yep, that's all the socials. You can find me. That's how you can find my show on all platforms. Like you name it, I'm on there. It's a major platform: Rumble, YouTube, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all that stuff. I'm on all that stuff. Same handle. Please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and we are going to make America laugh again, and we are going to bring liberty back to this country and bring a sense of community back. That's what we're going to do. That's it. That's what I got.
That's awesome. Amen. Thank you, brother. Thank you, as always, for joining the show. I know you're very busy, and I can't appreciate you enough for continually being on the show when you can. Yeah, it's awesome. You're awesome.
I appreciate you too, man. Like I appreciate what you're doing. Like you're one of the reasons I do this, honestly. You're one of the reasons, like you were just nobody, some guy on Facebook I kind of just ran across one day, which by the way,
that guy.
Yeah.
I'm still that guy.
Iron, you know what I mean? Like that they don't even show my stuff. So if you like me over there, like you probably won't even see it. And Instagram, all that stuff. Like I have 3,500 followers on X. I might have 250 on Facebook, and I might have 140 on Instagram. But please, if you want to follow me there and help grow it, amazing. We'll have a good time. I have a great time with this. But you are doing great things, sir. And we need more people like all of us. I want to build a network. This is what needs to happen. We need to build a network of accounts. Mike Decentralized came up with this. Love that guy. He's one of my favorite people ever.
Yes.
We need people with under 100K, even under 50K accounts per se, to join forces and just start putting our stuff out there, sharing and doing this and that or the other, just to get it out there. Because just because somebody has 100 and some odd, 100,000 plus followers or whatever it may be, that don't mean they're not a grifting ass MFer. Let me just put that out there right now. You want some real, honest, unmerciful content, you're going to find us. We're going to be the ones who bring it, that are not going to cave on our principles. We're not going to do it
That's
ever.
right. That's right. Absolutely. You nailed that part. Thank you for coming on. Please, everybody, follow him, Buds in Reality, on, is it all platforms?
All platforms. It's the same handle. All of it.
Nice.
All of it. Yeah.
I screwed mine up. I have now I had a 40,000 follower page on Facebook, but it's gone now. So that's awesome. But I screwed it up on Twitter and Instagram. So please follow me. You just, I guess, the Cajun Libertarian. It'll probably pop up everywhere. However, more importantly, let's continue to be engaged in dialogue. Make sure you pay attention to the shows. You don't have to like the posts on our, social media, but get engaged in the videos, because that's how we're going to actually help people, is through honest dialogue where we can actually, and Shaun, you would agree, we did not agree on everything here, but we had dialogue in which we could show people that this is the way forward. It's got to be. Otherwise, as I've been saying and started the show out, and I think you should do this anyway, you need to go buy food, ammo, and a way to get clean water and keep clean water. Get chickens, grow food, do it now. We're like right now.
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 Gold and silver too. I'm a big gold and silver guy. I'll throw that in there. You need to have a medium of exchange. even though like food is the ultimate medium of exchange. If you have food, you're king dingling, period. Like, people got to eat. You know what I mean? So if you have food, that is the greatest medium of exchange. But like, you're also going to need things like gold, silver, copper. Copper right now, I don't need to go on a tangent right now. Copper's a great buy. Get yourself into copper. Actually, it's outperforming gold and silver percentage wise. So get yourself into that. Silver's attainable still. Gold is for rich people. If you're just a working class dude, think about copper and silver. I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Brother, I appreciate you being here. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, man. Have a good night, y'all. Be good.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Love you. I will see you Tuesday, same time, same channel. And please take heart to what we said. Thank you very much. I love each and every one of you. Please share the show and get it out there. Amen. Love you. Good night.